2017, and I feel like from in my head, this was kind of a big launching point for you, even though obviously in retrospect, there's a lot of issues looking back at it, but you started with bar wrestling.
Hey,
And
yeah,
bar wrestling became what it became, but
yeah.
it was a hot place for a while. There was a lot of buzz around bar wrestling. How did the opportunity come where you started joining? Because let's see, I don't think I have a date, but I know you joined in. I want to say like a dozen
It was
shows
the
in or something.
October show.
Okay,
Whatever show October was, because of course I debuted on October.
perfect. I mean, who
October.
better?
Yep. Once again, Fitz. They were doing it was like a big 8-person tag thing. And it was like your band of your bar regulars. I think it was Nimeth at the time, PP Ray, Heather, and ooh, uh, oh wow, I can't remember. Anyway, a group of them. If she ever, which she'll never listen to this, but if the person whose name I'm blanking on, who I'm friends with, who I feel bad about right now, ever listens to that, they'll also be upset. But against a bunch of us, like more horror Halloween based folks, it was a good time, man. Bar wrestling before it went before before all the before the bad things happened. It was a great spot to be because it was that like I felt it was almost an in between level, between like Gorilla and like they felt like it was almost a notch down. And
I
I
can see
say
that.
that probably because I worked there, so I felt like electricity, but it really felt like something was being built, uh, being built there.
You know what I kind of saw it as, and I don't know if you'll
Oh,
agree.
please.
I kind of saw it as the Beyond Wrestling of California.
That's a very fair way to put it. I think we also had several venues, but the overall look and feel was the same. You were going to see a lot of regulars, but you were also going to see a lot of people coming in. It was going to be a mix of the two. Bar wrestling was a good spot, if for no other reason than it gave a lot of the local guys that were already in the area and already doing good work fresh eyes and fresh eyes, if for no other reason than a lot of those local guys who might not have got to work with larger names got to work with larger names through bar wrestling.
And that match, by the way, is a 10-man elimination. It was yourself, Funny Bone, Nurse
Yep.
Ratchet, Sage Sin,
Mhm.
Sin Bodhi versus
Yep.
the Killer Bays, PP Ray,
How
and
did I
Hot Young
forget it?
Briley.
How did I forget that it was the killer? Laura. I forgot Laura's name. Don't tell her.
Your
Laura.
secret is
I
safe.
didn't. I didn't forget your name. I think
But
she
no,
bought it.
I'm sure she bought it. Positive.
Sick. Awesome.
But and from there, you were on a ton of bar wrestling shows after
A
that.
lot. Like so many.
Did you find starting to do that was helping your buzz locally beyond that, or was it just because,
Oh, please.
or I guess because that became kind of like I'm guessing your priority at that time. Once you started getting on that bigger show with more buzz, you were kind of prioritizing the bigger company at that point, which would be bar wrestling, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us were doing that. Like if it was, but also another advantage of when you could get on bar wrestling, if you could get on, it was weekday shows.
Oh yeah, that's
So
right.
it's
I
like a
forgot about
Wednesday
that.
or a Thursday. So you could make wrestling money in the middle of the week.
And then do the weekend bookings.
Yeah, and you could still fill up your weekend as you would. Now, sometimes it would still do like every once in a while they'd run a weekend, but I think for the most part it was like a Thursday night show or a Wednesday night show. Sometimes, later on they'd do a couple a week.
And from a promoting standpoint, it probably made sense because if people were flying out for a PWG or something,
You
fly
get
them
them
out a
in the
day
day
earlier.
early. Yep,
Yeah.
you can arguably split the cost or whatever agreement you guys come to. But yeah, you can use it, take advantage of that. You can get some of the same talent. And I do believe that helped not only locally. I think that's the place where I feel that really started to, at least for perspective wise, start to get my name in places. Maybe I said it felt like that for a minute, and then also sometimes not so much. Like, it was weird. Uh, but yeah, I don't think it hurt anything for sure. Because once again, it was not only was it matches with people you wouldn't like, when else was I going to work Darby Allin?
Yeah.
Or like, when else were Brody and I going to work with like LAX? You know, it's like those things where I look at it, it's like those matches were never going to happen anywhere else. Great that they did,
Yeah.
but like I said, it was a special place for a handful of folk. For like a lot of us local guys, it was a good place. I said, separate that from everything else, and it was a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Just step aside from the issues that led to it ending and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.